Imagine a world with a complete abundance of everything. Many people would describe this as paradise. However, this is not as good as you would all imagine. An excess or overabundance of things isn't good, and an example of this is the overabundance of phosphorus, which leads to the death of various animals and disturbs the general ecosystem nearby. Such an occurrence can be called as algal blooms and happen due to eutrophication in the bodies of water, which kills off the animals due to the increased growth of algae and other aquatic plants, causing a decrease in the oxygen available, leading to death. Terra, the Great Devouring, presents to you about the effects of these phenomena, how the phosphorus cycle affects it, and how we, as humans, are a leading cause of why it happens. Together, let's find out.
Sedimentary cycle is a natural process that includes accumulation and lithification of sediments to generate sedimentary rocks. This cycle is essential to the rock cycle, which is detailed how various types of rocks originate and evolve through time. The erosion and weathering of already present rocks, minerals, and organic components initiate the sedimentary cycle. This process breaks down these components into smaller particles known as sediments, which then move to new areas by wind, water, or ice. Sediments can be divided during transportation based on size and form, with bigger and heavier grains settling out first. Layers may develop as sediments are deposited, with new layers placed on top of older ones. These layers can be divided, crushed, and cemented collectively through lithification to form sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock are made of several forms of sediments such as sand, clay, silt, gravel, organic materials. The kind of sedimentary rock formed is influenced by various factors, including the type of sediment, the condition in which it was deposited, and the process of lithification process. Sandstone, for example, arises from the building up and lithification of sand-sized particles, whereas cement forms from the accumulation and lithification of shells or coral. Sedimentary rocks may also be contain fossils with other evidence of previous ecosystems and events, giving them essential record of the past Earth. Many businesses rely on sedimentary rocks, including construction, agriculture, and the production of energy. Sandstones, for example, is used in building, while limestone is utilized in agriculture as fertilizer for the soil and in the manufacture of cement. Coal and oil, shale are energy sources. Sedimentary rocks can also help us comprehend Earth's previous habitats and the events that have shaped it over time using fossils. Thank you.
One of the biogeochemical cycles important to the Earth's ecology is the phosphorus cycle, since it is a part of the molecules DNA, RNA, and ATP, which are crucial for energy transmission and cellular functions. Phosphorus, a non-metallic element, is necessary for life. The phosphorus cycle involves the transportation of phosphorus through the Earth's system in various forms, including phosphate ions, organic phosphates, and sediments. The phosphorus cycle starts in the Earth's crust when worn phosphorus-containing minerals are discharged into the soil. These phosphate ions are taken up by plants from the ground and are added to their organic components. Animals then receive phosphorus by eating plants or other animals whose tissues have previously incorporated phosphorus. After that, decomposers break down organic material left behind by dead plants and animals, returning phosphorus into the soil. Additionally, some phosphorus may be transported to rivers, lakes, and seas via leaching from the ground. Phosphorus is a limiting component in aquatic environments that, If its concentration increases too high, it may cause eutrophication by encouraging uncontrollable development of algae and other aquatic plants. Human actions like utilizing fertilizers and wastewater discharge can disrupt the natural phosphorus cycle by increasing the amount of phosphorus in soils and streams. This might lead to more ecological imbalances and catastrophic algal blooms. That is why understanding the phosphorus cycle is essential for managing and protecting our natural resources.
Non-native plants, animals, or microbes that are introduced into an ecosystem and potentially negatively impact the environment, the economy, and the human health are considered as invasive species. They can thrive and procreate in their new habitat, frequently with little opposition from native species that might not have adjusted to their presence. Because of this, they can easily take over and dominate an environment, driving out local species and upsetting the balance of nature. Introducing invasive species might happen intentionally or by mistake. For instance, through commerce or transportation. They threaten biodiversity and potentially seriously harm the economy and ecology. Agriculture is one of the primary ways that humans influence the phosphorus cycle. Farmers use fertilizers to raise their crops, phosphorus content and yield because phosphorus is essential for plant growth. However, surplus fertilizers can leak into local rivers and cause hazardous algal blooms and other detrimental environmental effects. Human activities like mining, building, and deforestation can also upset the phosphorus cycle's delicate equilibrium by modifying how phosphorus moves through the environment. The phosphorus cycle is significantly impacted by human activities including agriculture, wastewater management, and development, which is also helped to fuel the spread of invasive species and other environmental issues. Although people are generally not considered as invasive species, their effects on the environment can occasionally resemble those of invasive species. Native species and the environment have been disrupted and harmed by introduction of non-native species by humans into new environment. Like invasive species, human activities like agriculture development and resource extraction can hurt the environment by causing ecological disruption, biodiversity loss, and environmental degradation. However, it is crucial to remember that humans are unique species or special species with intricate social, cultural, and economic systems. And they cannot just be labeled as invading. To conserve the earth and keep its ecological balance, we need to comprehend and lessen the damaging effects of our actions on the ecosystem.
Epigenetics is a field of study focused on changes in gene expression that are not caused by changes to the underlying DNA sequence. These changes can occur in response to environmental factors such as diet, stress, and exposure to toxins. The modifications can be passed down from one generation to the next, leading to long-term effects on genetic diversity. Epigenetics is a relatively new field of study, but it has gained significant attention for its implications for the environment, health, and evolution. Human activities such as habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change can significantly affect epigenetics in biodiversity. When natural habitats are destroyed, animals and plants may be forced to adapt to a new environment, resulting in changes in gene patterns and loss of genetic diversity. Similarly, exposure to pollutants like pesticides and heavy metals can alter gene expression patterns among species, which could potentially affect entire ecosystems. Climate change also has the potential to affect epigenetics, as changing temperature and weather patterns may require species to adapt to survive. The study of epigenetics is essential for understanding how human activities impact the environment and biodiversity. Our actions can have far-reaching consequences for the ecosystem's health and survival, and ultimately, our human well-being. Studying this is crucial in understanding how we can protect the genetic diversity of our planet's ecosystem and mitigate our negative impact on the environment.
Anthropogenic effects are harmful environmental effects caused by human activities or inactivities. Deforestation, urbanization, industrialization, pollution, and the introduction of invasive species are just some of the negative effects caused by humans. One of the most significant negative anthropogenic effects is deforestation. It is the process of clearing forests of trees for human activities such as agriculture, mining, and urbanization. In the Philippines, deforestation has led to soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, destruction of habitats, and increased carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Urbanization and industrialization have also contributed to negative anthropogenic effects. The construction of housing, buildings, factories, and other infrastructure has destroyed habitats, caused land, air, and water pollution, and increased greenhouse gas emissions. The burning of fossil fuels for energy has also contributed to climate change and global warming. Pollution is another negative anthropogenic effect caused by human activities. Pollution can take many forms, including air pollution from burning fossil fuels, water pollution from industrial waste and untreated sewage, and land pollution from mining and overcrowded landfills. Pollution can harm plants, animals, and humans, lead to health problems, and disrupt entire ecosystems. Furthermore, humans are the primary cause of the introduction of invasive species in ecosystems. The introduction of invasive species is often unintentional, but it can also be intentional, such as when non-native species are intentionally introduced for agricultural or ornamental purposes. In the Philippines, invasive species such as golden apple snails, cane toads, and common grass have been introduced and have had negative impacts on the environment. Golden apple snails, for example, are an invasive species in the Philippines that is native to South America and is considered a pest in rice fields, causing major economic damage to the country.
Indeed, human invasion to land is a great devouring. But let's not throw in the towel just yet because we're not hopeless. There are a lot of solutions that we can implement in order to mitigate this crisis. First, of course, is sustainable consumption. We can reduce the use of single-use plastics, including those shampoo sachets we often buy on nearby sari-sari stores. We can also choose sustainably sourced products and conserve water and energy. By practicing sustainable consumption, we can ensure that we are not consuming resources at a rate that depletes them, and we're taking into account the long-term effects of our actions. Next, we can implement sustainable land use practices. We can use land in a way that does not cause harm to the environment or depletes natural resources. For example, we can practice agroforestry, which involves integrating trees into agricultural landscapes to promote biodiversity, soil health, and carbon sequestration. Also, we must not forget to prioritize conservation efforts. We can protect and restore ecosystems and species that are threatened or endangered. By prioritizing conservation efforts, we can ensure that we are not causing any further harm to the environment and we are preserving our natural resources for future generations. And finally, we can advocate for policy changes that prioritize sustainability and environmental protection. As youths, we should raise our voice regarding such a timely issue, and we can hold our governments and corporations responsible and accountable for their actions and promote policies that support sustainable practices, such as renewable energy, circular economy, sustainable agriculture. By advocating for policy changes, we can ensure that we are not just making individual efforts, we are also promoting systemic changes that can make a significant impact on the environment. So mitigating the environmental crisis caused by human invasion to the land requires efforts from you and from me.
The phosphorus cycle is an essential biogeochemical cycle fundamental to ecosystems' proper operation. The phosphorus cycle outlines the movement of phosphorus through the environment and its vital nutrients for all the living creatures. The phosphorus cycle is influenced by natural processes such as rock weathering, erosion, and volcanic activity. However, Human activities including fertilizer use, food distribution, and artificial eutrophication have considerably impacted the phosphorus cycle. When individuals use fertilizers, they add a lot of phosphorus to the soil which can wash off into surrounding streams and cause eutrophication. Excessive nutrients such as phosphorus cause proliferation of algae in aquatic habitats, which can overgrowth and subsequently cause a drop in oxygen dissolution levels in water, threatening the marine life. Summing up, the phosphorus cycle is crucial for ecosystem function, and human behavior significantly affect it. Human activities such as fertilizer use, food distribution, and artificial eutrophication are key contributors to disturbances in phosphorus cycle, which can negatively impact on ecosystems.